You want to, when you're using this thing, you want to always breathe through your nose, not your mouth. Yeah, it's pretty nice. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Hands-On channel. Today I want to talk to you about my pole. My pole saw. Anyway, people have been asking me about it. You know, a lot of people that are doing, getting into homesteading and stuff like that, even just home ownership. If you've got a place that you're working on, especially if you've got a big piece of property or a decent sized piece of property, then you're going to need something reliable that has some versatility to it. And one thing that's really great about this, right now it's fully extended, and it's from end to end, it's about 12 feet long. Okay, so you probably lose a couple of feet because of where your hand position is on the throttle like this, right? It just depends where you hold it, right? That's going to depend on how much actual reach you have, but you have at least a good 10, 11 feet of reach. And if you've got the upper body strength, you can push your arms up higher and get, you know, another couple more feet out of it. But it gets heavy when it's extended like this. It'll wear you out quick. You talk about getting your workout, your farm fit going and getting in shape, this thing will do it. But the nice thing is very quickly, just like this, you can take it from a fully erect shaft to a might need to add a little Viagra to it, I don't know. But no, this thing is nice and rigid. That's one of the things I like about it. So I'll tell you real quick, we looked at several different models. We looked at some steels, and I think Husqvarna makes one. But I started reading through the reviews. Actually, I purchased this on Amazon. It certainly was not the cheapest one. They had some cheaper models. This one was about 600 bucks at the time. And I think we bought that either during or right before COVID. I can't remember, but I wanted to have it for a while before, you know, writing a review on it or doing a review, so you guys would know that this is not just some robot. You know, there's so many videos out there where you're trying to find out about a product and you get all these bots and stuff that are just, you know, AI and all that. I wanted to give you the real deal. It's real simple. It's got a basic carburetor on this side. Of course, you got your fuel tank over here, your oil reservoir down there, and I'm fixing to make an adjustment here in a minute for the first time on the chain. I may have adjusted it one other time, but it's been a really durable chain. And if you keep it from getting pinched in the branches the best you can, it'll last a lot longer. If you get it pinched a lot, then it will wear out fast. But yeah, it has an actual choke on it. It's got a primer bulb over here. I've already been running it. As you can see behind me, I've got branches down everywhere. Let's see here. Flip the switch right here. Kind of a dead man or a safety switch right there by your thumb. It does have a safety Sally thing here that it won't let you depress the throttle unless you're depressing this safety switch here, which, you know, whatever. Kind of like the back end of a 1911. But anyway, you flip the switch forward. Usually starts on one pull. Very easy, very smooth running. Very quiet, it's two-stroke. Seems to have all the power that I need, and it's been very reliable for me. Now I'll tell you one thing that's really important about two-strokes especially. I don't know what it is about mixing fuel, but if you can, 100% of the time get pure gas. 100% fuel, no ethanol. These things don't like ethanol. The plastic tubing and the different fuel lines and things will deteriorate rapidly if you put ethanol in it, especially if you leave ethanol in it. Also, ethanol pulls moisture out of the air. So it will, you know, over the winter and stuff, if you store it with ethanol in the tank, it'll automatically get more moisture in it than it would with pure gas. So if you can get pure gas, start with that. I don't think there's any secret sauce. I don't run True Fuel or anything expensive. I just run regular pump gas, 89 octane. and I use the Walmart brand SuperTech Marine. You can get a gallon jug of the Marine 2-stroke mix oil, and it'll last you a very long time. And it works great, works just as great as all the rest of the stuff. I haven't had any issues with running that sort of stuff. I know some people are going to come in the comments and they're going to say, oh no, you have to run True Fuel. That's the only thing to run, or else you're going to wear it up. You're going to wear out your cylinder walls, blah, 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 blah. Even with this SuperTech, this thing, if handled right and taken care of and kept indoors, you know, kept out of the elements, this thing should last me my lifetime. And one thing I like about it is it doesn't have a whole bunch of plastic covers on it that are like totally encasing the whole back end of it. So it makes it easier for when, you know, inevitably in the future, even with pure gas, I'll have to change out the fuel lines. That's just the way it is. Let's go off tripod here and we'll get you some close-ups of what I'm talking about. This is just a really high quality machine. You can probably see that model number right there. Well, I'm looking at it upside down. That's probably a big part of it. I was just telling my wife, that's one thing that sucks. I'm not aging gracefully. As my close range vision has gone away, I get pissed off all the time, man. I'll see something like this and I can't read the number, and it just makes me angry. And I'm like, where's my glasses? Dang it, I left them in the house. Yeah, it says PPT. This feels like a freaking vision test here. Why can't I focus on that? Okay, it says PPT-2620H. It's the X series, of course. Same one that Vin Diesel would use if he was going to do it and use it in a movie like Triple X or something. It just says Echo up there on the front. But yeah, it's a real basic machine, basic 2-stroke. Look, you can see the fuel lines right there. Where a lot of the, like my Husqvarna chainsaw, that's one thing I don't like about it, is it's buried in plastic. Now everything has been pretty good on it, but other than this, air cleaner cover here, there's really nothing. You just pull that air cleaner cover out of the way and you'll be able to easily change those fuel lines out in the future when they inevitably go bad. I like the fuel tank. I like the fuel fill. Not really many complaints, except for two things. One, oftentimes I'll set it down like this and I'll walk away, and right now I'm not touching it, but let's say the wind's blowing a little and we just barely, like that, it just falls over all the time. If they'd have made this base down here like, I don't know, 2 or 4 inches wider, it would have stood up a lot better on its own, especially when it's fully extended, and especially if it's running. Okay, if it's sitting there running, it's going to fall over like 9 times out of 10. You'll pick it up, you'll go back, you'll turn around, and you'll be like, oh, I just got to set it down for just a second. Here, it looks flat here. And you'll set it down, you'll turn around, pick your limb up, move it out of the way, turn back around, the dang thing's on its side going blah, 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 on it. So that's kind of annoying. Now, I think I could fix that by adding some sort of a little, maybe a thin piece of metal, or I don't know, a little small piece of angle iron that just extended that out. But then I'm adding weight to it. So I don't know. I haven't come up with the perfect solution yet. A piece of plastic would be better if I could find a rigid enough piece of plastic that would get the job done. But yeah, throughout this video, I'm going to insert some clips in here and just show you guys how well this thing does. I mean, it's just really impressive. When you come from the old manual saw, I put up with a manual, old-fashioned, I think it was a Fisker's brand even. I tried to get a good one, but man, after 2 or 3 seasons of working with these oak trees, like this one right here, and that may not look like a massive tree on camera, but for my area, it's a pretty big tree. And it's this blackjack oak. And man, let me tell you, this stuff wears out chainsaw chains like nothing else. Like, I'll be honest with you, after doing like one tree, you know, if you're, let's say you're felling a tree, or let me see if I can brighten it up a little bit. I just cut that limb. I'd say that's probably a 6-inch, you know, let's say, yeah, I'd call that a 6-inch limb. And man, that thing, it went right through it like butter. I'll insert a clip here and show you. Yeah, that's my motorcycle. I'd rather be riding that around the yard. My dog, Chloe, loves chasing me around the yard on that motorcycle. She'll do it until she's foaming at the mouth. But yeah, this is just one side of our property. And as you can see, well, maybe you can't because it's overexposed, but trust me, we got over 40 trees in on this property. And pretty much every one of them have been neglected for multiple years. So we've got to get up in there. I've reached up as high as I can with the pole saw in its current configuration, fully extended. And that's about as high as I could reach. Now obviously I could take this big branch, but we're not wanting to take that. We just wanted to lighten that up so that it would let some more, what I'm trying to do is let the grass grow back in here. See how I've got a couple of bare spots there, and over here we've already trimmed up on this tree and got it to where this winter, when the snow falls and the ice and stuff, it won't come down on top of the house. That's the idea. So anyway, I wanted to share this with you guys. It has been a fantastic tool. Really, I only have 2 complaints about it. Well, 3. We'll start with the most painful one. And you might think, what, it's heavy? Yeah, it is heavy. When you're out, you know, fully extended especially, I would limit that kind of work to short bursts. That way you don't end up hurting yourself for a week afterwards, because you can really throw your shoulder out very quickly. And you know, I'm a pretty good sized strapping dude. Now I'm getting older, but you know, I can still put in the work with the best of them. But I'm telling you, you want to, especially first couple times you use this thing, you want to kind of take it easy and, you know, kind of slowly walk into it. That way you don't hurt yourself, because it can happen. And I just mean like pulling a muscle or hurting your back. It tends to hurt my upper shoulder, somewhere in my shoulder, in like the rotator cuff area, and back there on the back where your shoulder meets the spine, and my lower back. So just be warned, it is a heck of a workout. But this machine does it every time, starts every time. I've never had a problem with it for longevity, especially over winter when I'm not using it for long periods. I'm either going to drain, or I'm going to drain and run it empty, or I'll just run it empty and put the tank up empty. That's the best way to do it. And every one I've ever had, every chainsaw I've ever had, no matter what brand it is, every pole saw, everything I've ever had any experience with that has a built-in oiler on it like this will drip all over your shop, okay? So I made myself a little, kind of like a little standoff bracket out of a couple of 2x4s for some shelves that I made, just some wooden shelves. And what I do is I extend the pole out just a little bit, and I set this down on the little cradle, you know, like a little U shape in the 2x4 that I made. And I set this down in there, and then underneath that I have some kind of a little plastic container that will catch the drips that come off of this thing, because it will drip all over the place. It will drive you crazy. And there's probably a way to get inside there. There's probably some little piece of dirt or bark or something stuck up in there. But it sounds like I'd have to take some stuff apart and dig into that thing, and I really don't want to do that. So I just made a little drip pan so that it'll keep my shop clean. But yeah, man, the Echo, whatever that model number that I couldn't read 4 times was, it's an awesome, awesome little machine. Starts right up, first try every time. As long as you remember to put the kill switch in the run position. Ready? I'm not even going to pull it hard. What's nice about this is that if you've got younger people that don't have a lot of upper body strength, as far as like being able to pull start things, you know, like maybe your wife wants to come out and help, or maybe you're getting your young children into helping out in the yard, they could easily pull start this thing. As long as they know the procedure. You know, you press the primer bulb 3 or 4 times, you put it on choke, which is back here. I can't feel it, but it's back there. There it is, right there. That's your choke. Yeah, it's plastic, but I think if you take care of it, you don't beat on it too much. Don't let it bounce around the back of your pickup truck up and down a gravel road, you know, when you're doing the Duke boy stuff out there and you're sliding around corners. You know, you at least strap it down or whatever. And it probably lasts you a long time, probably even lasts you your lifetime if you do what I said and you drain the fuel out of it. Ideally after every use, but depends how much you use it. If you use it a lot during the summer, that's unnecessary. But if you don't, then you probably ought to drain it every use. And the thing will probably last you a lifetime. So let's try it one more time. Boom. Just like that. The Echo pole saw. Even though I had to pay $600 for it, and that was the most painful part. That's what I was trying to tell you guys. I'm so excited I forgot to finish that part. I had to pay $600 for it, right? That was the worst part about it. And then there's the factor of when it's fully extended, it hurts your shoulder if you do too much of it. So just take it easy. That's the other con. The last thing is this right here. When it's running especially, it'll fall right over on its side, usually this way. Yeah, you'll come back and it'll be laying there like that. And what sucks about that is if you're in the sand or something, which you usually are, this is your air cleaner right in here. I think right here. So you don't want that right down there sucking up sand. So yeah, I'm going to have to come up with some sort of remedy, you know, that I can put on there. If you got any suggestions, what would be a good thing, you know, something easy, like a piece of an old cutting board or something that I could just maybe glue on there or something like that. It's got a little strap here. I don't really like it. I leave it on there, although it just gets in my way and it ends up hanging up on limbs and stuff. I probably shouldn't even keep it there. But what it's good for is when you're getting so tired that you just can't hold it up anymore. It works great for that. So anyway, guys, I've rambled on enough here. Now I'm just kind of procrastinating because I don't want to I don't want to have to go back to holding that big old heavy thing up. But yeah, I wanted to share it with you. If you've got pretty decent upper body strength, you know, you're a decent sized dude, you should be able to handle it. Even some of these bigger ladies out there could probably handle it. Just be careful, you know, make sure it's best that, you know, the problem is with any of these types of devices, inevitably you're going to get to a situation like I'm in where I've cut all the low stuff. So ideally, when you're going into a branch, like say I was going to cut that big branch off, ideally I'd be standing way out here somewhere and cutting down like this, okay? That's the safest, best way to do it, is you're cutting down, you're letting the weight of the saw come down like that. Unfortunately, what we always all get into is you cut stuff that's a little bit out of reach, and then you end up holding the pole saw straight up like this. And that's where things can get dangerous in a couple of different ways. For one, you're right underneath where the branch could potentially come down, and that could hurt you. For two, you could pinch, and it would just be awkward because now you're cutting in like this instead of cutting down, so it's not as good. It's better if you can cut down. That's my advice to you, especially while you're getting used to the machine. But yeah, go out there and get you one. Echo pole saw, extends up to 12 feet long. I mean, does everything I need and then some. And you get a workout on top of that. All right, and also, you know, you get the bragging rights of saying, hey, I got the longest pole in the neighborhood, if that means anything to you. All right, guys, if you have any questions, let me know. This thing's been flawless for me so far. If I can, I run it in the short position like that because it's easier, but there's times you need to extend it out. It seems well built, seems robust. Yeah, there's a lot of plastic on it, but what in the world doesn't have a lot of plastic on it these days? I don't know where it's made. I don't want to say made in the USA, but it might be made in the USA. Definitely for what I paid for it, it should be, but it's probably, even if it is, it's probably assembled out of, you know, foreign parts or whatever. But yeah, man, Echo pole saw, get one. I love it. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Until then, we'll see you next time.